Hey folks, I'm Cuz Strickland, and welcome to this episode of Tennessee Dirt, presented by Mossy Oak Properties, Tennessee Land and Farm, a podcast dedicated to helping you find your favorite place. Each episode, we'll talk about all things related to land ownership and conservation throughout the great state of Tennessee. And don't worry, there'll be plenty of hunting and fishing stories too. Our goal here is to help each of you live your best life in the Tennessee dirt.
Hey, welcome back, folks, to this episode of Tennessee Dirt. Good to have you back. Appreciate all the support we've been getting from you guys out there. This podcast started a little over a year ago. We're on episode 13 now, so we're doing really well, and we appreciate all the support out there. We are coming to you today from Kentucky, and I've got to the left of me Mr. Chris Dowdy.
Hello.
Most of y'all know Chris Dowdy, and you've done a couple podcasts with us before.
Yes, sir.
Good to have you here. And, of course, man who needs no introduction to the left of you, Mr. Harold Knight of Knight and Hale Calls. Harold, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I am absolutely tickled to death to get to do a podcast, y'all.
Oh, good.
So,
We're excited.
Chris and I have been talking about it for a month or two.
Yes, sir.
So we finally got together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right before turkey season.
That's right. And it feels like turkey season.
That's right.
Yeah, on the drive up here, I had a couple phone calls, and everybody's like, well, how's the land business doing, y'all? I said, well, about a couple weeks ago, we had our first 70-degree day, and let me tell you, the phone started ringing.
That's right.
It's amazing what weather does to people.
Oh, yeah.
Bad weather and good weather.
Right.
It affects me so much, man. It affects my attitude. If it's like this, I'm happy as a lark. If it's cloudy and gloomy, unless I'm sitting in front of a fireplace, I'm not happy. But this is awesome.
Well, thanks for having us to your beautiful home, and I know you were born and raised in this area. I think I'm right about that. I know Trigg County, Kentucky.
The way a crow flies, probably 4 miles.
Wow.
In the land between the lakes. I got some fond memories of those days. I lived there the first 20 years of my life.
Yes, sir.
And that's where I really got interested in hunting. Not only turkey hunting, but squirrel hunting and rabbit hunting and quail hunting and waterfowl hunting. All of it was right in the land between the lakes.
Yeah. And Chris, I know you and Harold known each other a long time.
Yeah, probably about 30 years. I was thinking about that earlier today. It's been that long. I was probably about 3 years out of high school or so when I met him. I'd already been to college and got hurt and was through that part of my life. And I actually met him through Harold's brother, Butch McElwain.
Mm-hmm.
And
you were a competitive swimmer, is that right?
Yeah, I was. Well, free swimming is
Free
what
swimming.
I call. No,
Synchronized swimming.
actually, at that time, I did work in the music business. But when I met Butch, I was a waiter at Applebee's in Nashville, and that was the only day that I worked at Applebee's that I was a waiter. Most of the time, I was in the kitchen.
The Beehive.
That's right. And I had joked with him about, like, you don't want this face in the kitchen, baby. You want it out there on the floor. And they come back one day and they're like, look, we had a couple waitresses that didn't show up. Do you want to wait tables? And the first table that I waited on was Butch McElwain, Chad Shear, and Jim Stralick.
My gosh, what a crew.
Yep. And they had been at that I-24 Expo Center. I think it's a Peterbilt dealership now. Mm-hmm. And they all had on cowboy hats and these real nice Knight and Hale button-up shirts. And I recognized the logo. And I'm completely honest, I had not hunted a whole lot at that point.
Right.
And kind of struck up a conversation with them. And Butch invited me to that expo center the next day. And honestly, me waiting that table that day changed the entire course of my life. It's pretty amazing, to be honest with you, because me and Butch became friends immediately. Within about a week, I was up here and I met Harold on the second trip. The first trip, I helped him chink the cabin over there at the outfitter. And then the second trip, I went in there, and from then on, anytime I come up, me and Butch would go over there a lot. And they were always so gracious to me. Like, I had every call y'all made. I don't think I ever paid for anything. I walked in there one day, and Harold's like, you like these jackets? And there's an awesome jacket that it was embroidered. And he's like, go ahead and take you one of these jackets. And I don't know. It's just, we've always been buddies. And I think it was probably cool because I had no idea really who he was initially.
Right.
And they were kind of in the transition. Pradco had bought the company, and they still were tuning calls and whatnot. You'd walk in there, it sounded like a calling contest. They had a room, had all these people in there tuning calls, and it was a really neat time. It's always been a neat time, and Katie's to me has always been a real special place. But it blows my mind to be sitting in Harold Knight's garage right now, 30 years later, doing a podcast with him when I literally was a one-time waiter and just happened to meet the right people. And I work for Mossy Oak and sell land.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out there that have similar stories where one moment in time or meeting just the right person has
exactly, you know,
cleared a path for maybe a career or a friendship in y'all's case.
timing is everything. Timing is everything for a business.
Right.
Location and timing.
that's right. That's right. It was a unique time for them too. You know, they had grown so big at the time I met Harold. Knight and Hale was the biggest game call company in the United States,
Right.
and it was really really cool to see it because they were so humble and so engaging with everybody. I mean, if you want to see Harold in his element, put him in a room full of kids because it don't matter how many adults there. Harold's gonna spend time with the kids, and I learned a lot about how to be a man, how to treat people, how to be honest, how to have integrity, and how to carry yourself from him and from Butch and from David. You know, David's not here, but David is a very impactful person in my life, and I'm so appreciative of him. I really am.
And that's a great segue because I want to immediately hit on how important the last NWTF convention and sports show is. Of course, we see each other there. You and I have gotten to know each other over the
That's
years
right.
just a little bit, but you had quite an honor this year at the NWTF sports show in Nashville. You want to tell us about that?
You know, we Mossy Oak give us a great honor, honoring Mr. Fox. You
Right.
know, and people don't know who Mr. Fox was. He was. I've always said, if you look in the Webster Dictionary what a Southern gentleman was, his picture would be right there.
Amen to that.
Yes, sir.
And he was such a great person and a good friend. I enjoyed talking to him so much at the NWTF convention. When he come, Toxie would come get me and said, "Daddy's going to be over here on the couch. He wants to talk to you." And we'd talk. We'd talk about squirrel hunting. We'd talk about Mississippi State baseball. We would talk about turkey hunting and deer hunting. But he was just one of my favorite people. And you know, I said this the night we got this award. Everybody, every hunter has a bucket list. I got one. You got one. You've got one. And one of mine on my bucket list was to get to go turkey hunting with Mr. Fox. And when he was 90 years old, Toxie and Bill Suggs and the boys, grandboys made that happen. I went down to the property in Alabama, and we went turkey hunting. And that was one of the most memorable turkey hunts. And I've been on lots of turkey hunting, boys. It's 70 years I've turkey hunted.
Wow.
And I've watched lots of people shoot turkeys, and I've killed a few. But that was one of the most emotional hunts I've ever been on in my life.
Sure.
I don't mind telling you, I teared up. I teared up, I can tell you, because I was so proud to see a man like Mr. Fox kill a turkey at 90 years old. And it was really a special treat to me. And the honor they gave David and I was, we cherished that, and it was an honor to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a special moment for you guys. And, you know, when you walk around in Nashville and you get this, it's almost like a little bit of a family reunion in a lot of cases. And you've always got folks around you. Cuz always has folks around him, Toxie, so forth. And sometimes, Chris, I'll just sit back and watch these guys. And there's a lot to learn, right? These guys showing us how to do it. And, of course, it's our responsibility to carry that on to our youngins, right? And these guys are always just so generous with your time. And you've never met a stranger. And I know that sometimes it can be a little overwhelming because that dang conference is pretty popular. I mean, it is packed.
Well, like you said, it's almost like a homecoming convention.
Right.
It's so many people there you know from the years past. You see them every year, and I'm always glad to see them. And I don't know how many turkey stories that I've heard over the last 70 years, but I never get tired of it. I love to hear people tell me about a turkey story or a hunting story or a fishing story. I like it. Right. And when I get to where I don't want to hear them, that's when I'm going to stay home.
Yeah.
But I hear lots of stories in Nashville at the convention, and see a lot of people that I see once a year. But I enjoy that. I really do.
Yeah.
One of the things to me that's unique about the hunting industry in itself is, when Harold and David started, there wasn't a hunting industry. Like all of these things like Bass Pro and different call companies, camo companies, all kind of started at the same time, and they all collectively built momentum. And what we see now, we're really spoiled because you can find a product for anything you want. You can get world-class camouflage. You can get great friction calls. And these guys were the guys that were on the front end of developing it. And he didn't do it because he thought he was going to be famous. He did it because it was what he loved. I mean, this way he is.
Somebody asked me the other day, he said, what was it like hunting turkeys when you first started? And I'm going to tell you, it was a lot different. First of all, we didn't have the resource of the wild turkey like we got now.
Right.
I was living in the land between the lakes, and we had wild turkey there, and had wild turkey there ever since, I guess, the Indians and man been here.
Right.
But so many changes, just like cameras. Who'd ever thought you could take inventory with your camera and send it back to your cell phone, the exact time the deer walks by your stand or a turkey or whatever, and your clothing. I didn't have any camouflage back in those days. I didn't know what a camouflage was.
Right.
And now I never go hunting unless I've got camouflage on.
Right. I remember what camo we had was like Army surplus camo.
That's right.
Yeah.
Buy it we had an Army Depot store in my little hometown, and my buddies and I would go buy used BDUs. That's what we call them, the old Army pattern.
Proud to get it too.
Proud to get it.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Harold, tell me a little bit about growing up in Golden Pond area.
Well,
family like and all that.
Well, it was totally different than the lifestyle that most people grow up in now. Had lots of brothers and sisters, and nobody had any money. Not just my family, but none of the other families had anything to amount to anything at all. We was all in the same boat. And I was happy. My lands, I was happy as could be. If I get to hunt a little and fish some, and I didn't want to. I didn't know what drugs was back in those days. I never did. I never done drugs in my life, but there was no such thing back in those days. It might be a little moonshine drinking or something like that. But anyway, going to school is totally different. I'd meet the school bus before daylight because I wanted to get on it and ride through a national wildlife refuge,
right,
and pick some of my buddies up, and we'd talk hunting all the way up,
right,
and things like that. These kids now, don't ride buses like we did. They all drive the vehicles to school, and I think they missed out on a lot. And we didn't have cell phones back then, to take your time up, and we buddied up and talked to each other and told stories to each other, and you could even go stay all night with my cousin or my buddy or something. Heck, it wasn't nothing to take a gun on the bus and leave it and get off and go hunting that evening. Now then, that'd make national news.
Right, yeah.
But nobody wanted to shoot somebody. We wanted to shoot a squirrel or a rabbit or a duck or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, I've kind of got the back door to some of the stories and whatnot. Will you tell the Fred Bear story, the arrow story?
Well, I didn't know who Fred Bear was at the time.
Right.
And he didn't know me. I was just a little kid. But they had a archery camp, they called it, that all these hunters would come each fall in October and bow hunt. And that's back before the compound bows. This was back before they had the modern bow equipment. And I couldn't wait. It was about 2 or 3 miles from where I lived. Man, if I had to walk water, I was going to go down there because I was very interested in bow hunting and watching them shoot those bows. And I can remember Mr. Fred Bear, big old tall skinny guy, and I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was a legend, or anything. But he'd give me some arrows, and I didn't know but one thing: shoot anything I could with them, a squirrel, anything. And I look back and I wish I could have kept one or two of those arrows,
Yeah.
But he was good with kids, and he wanted to help them get started in archery. And that was back in the 50s. And I remember that was one of the first deer hunts in the state of Kentucky, and one of the very few in the eastern part of the United States then, was right there.
Right.
And it wouldn't land between the lakes then. It was on the old Kentucky Woodland National Wildlife Refuge.
Yes.
And when Lake Barkley came in, they moved that refuge to Cross Creek, Tennessee. But that refuge was encompassed in several thousand acres, which is the land between the lakes now.
Right. Land Between the Lakes is one of my favorite places on earth. I've been everywhere, and I still love going there. There's so much to do, and there's so little to do. It's like the perfect balance.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, we go. I bet once a month we'll go to the elk and bison prairie and just roam around. I think my mic's cutting out a little bit, but go up there and ride around and see the elk. We went up last week, and there were turkeys out, there were elk out, and it was like 3:00 in the afternoon, and we saw, I think, 10 bull elk out there. Not a single one of them had shed. The bison were out roaming around. It's just a special place to go, and I'm so thankful for it.
A lot of people utilize that area there too. Get to see a buffalo or elk, and then drive through there and look at them. That's neat.
Yeah, and you had, what, was there 10 of y'all, 10 kids? In that
10
family?
of them.
Goodness. Yeah. And most of you are all successful.
Well, pretty much, all of us like to play ball.
Yeah.
When you had 10, you had brothers with 7 boys, and we'd play ball a while and fight a while.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I really enjoyed it, hunting with some of my brothers and my daddy and things like that. They weren't diehard hunters, and when I got in the game call business, I hunted a lot,
Right.
and but I like to hunt. I liked to hunt when I was a kid too. It was a hard choice between me wanting to play sports and hunting, and hunting won over.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
I think that was a good decision.
I will go ahead and attest for everybody listening. Harold Knight still loves hunting, and he still loves fishing. And if you talk to him, he's either doing one or the other or about to do one or the other still.
Yeah.
He's just as fired up
Well,
about it.
I'd say this too. I've been blessed with good health. The good Lord's blessed me, and man, I don't take that for granted. I get up every morning. I say, "Thank you, good Lord, for another good night's sleep, and let me have another good day." And I don't take for granted at my age that He lets me get out and do things, and still physically able to do it.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
I don't think I ever talked to him. He ain't on a tractor or a mower or doing something else. He's always doing it. His brother's the same way. Butch is the same way. I think Butch sits on the porch and listens for limbs to fall so he can run out and grab them. He's just seen anything like it.
Of all the places that you've hunted all throughout the country, has there ever been any inkling to maybe settle down roots somewhere outside of Kentucky?
No. If I had another place to live, it'd be Tennessee, because Tennessee and Kentucky is so much alike, the land and the hills. And now I'm not talking about the mountains around Knoxville. That's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. And if I was raised in a place like that, that's where I'd want to live.
Yeah.
But I was raised in the hills here in western Kentucky, and to me, that's where I want to live. And I have never seen another place I'd trade where I live here
That's pretty
to
telling.
live.
Yeah.
Now, I enjoy visiting places and
Right.
going to different places, and some beautiful places I've got to hunt, and I've got to kill a lot of elk. I think I killed my 34th bull elk this year,
Wow.
and over the years, I've got to do a lot of that, and it's a lot like turkey hunting. elk hunting is, and I think that's one reason I liked it too. You know, you can call them, and the only thing you can't pick him up. I can't even turn his antlers over. I mean, but
I
anyway,
couldn't either.
I've been blessed to get to elk hunt, and Dave and I both really enjoyed elk hunting.
Yeah, and you fish a lot. I know.
I do fish a lot. I enjoy fishing. Uh, uh, you know, I'm going next week or this week to the Bassmasters Classic. I enjoy a lot of the people in the fishermen, pro fishermen, has been friends of mine for years, and you know, most of them that fish likes to hunt, and most of us like to hunt likes to fish, and some of us just make a living a different way, and you know, you know, when you're young, I always thought I wanted to fish professionally, and the good Lord stopped that. Thank you, Lord, and because He, you know, it's very few of them that
Yeah.
makes, you know, in professional fishing,
Yeah.
and but anyway, I've got a lot of people, friends, that's professional fishermen, and I enjoy keeping up with them.
Yeah, that can be a tough road to hoe to make it as a professional fisherman. Of course, electronics has changed fishing in a
Oh,
lot of ways too,
absolutely.
and I can see some electronics on your boat, and sometimes that makes it really really nice. And sometimes you sit back and at least I do wonder, what if I didn't have all this? You know,
Well, now just because you see them on there don't mean I know how to use
use
it. You know, I'm still learning. It's like my cell phone. When something happens to my cell phone, I call the grandkids.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know, that's a lot. You know, these young kids now raised up with electronics is got the edge over people like me. It's no question about it.
Right.
And don't mean we can't learn a little, but be taught a little something about it. But we way behind. We starting way behind.
Well, I'll tell you, the updates are putting us all behind because by the time I figure my phone out, I'll get an update. It's like I'm starting all over, you know, like a caveman with a rock trying to communicate. But yeah, I get that easily.
But you know, technology really hasn't infiltrated too terribly much in the calling business, right? I mean, you're still using calls you probably used and techniques to communicate that you did back 20, 30, 40 years ago.
That's correct. You know, things has got somewhat a lot better. You know,
Right.
calls has, but when I first started several years ago into call business, there wasn't many calls out there, and you had your slate calls, and you had the old Gibson box call, and the Lynch box call, and some other regional people building some pretty good calls, but there just wasn't that many calls out there, and I think that's one reason that we had the success we had. We started in a good time, you know, a good era where with things are just coming about. The resource of wild turkey came about big time in the 70s.
Yeah.
You can a net and your National Wild Turkey Federation, your state agencies, and all of them, they don't did a lot to really bring back the wild turkey. And
Right.
we have got lots of wild turkey in the United States now.
Yeah, I can remember hearing stories, you know, back then. And I was born in 1973 and didn't really turkey hunt a lot down in Florida where I'm from. But when I moved to Tennessee and started, you know, getting into it slowly and talking to a lot of people, there was a time when you were lucky to see a turkey back then, you know.
Yeah,
And-
you know, I see a lot of these young children, that boys and girls that hunt turkey, and lots of them hunt them, and it seems to be a real popular thing to hunt turkeys. And but if they don't have success right off, it depresses them, and you know they feel like they're a loser. And man alive, I tell them, I said, have fun with it. Enjoy every time you get to go out there turkey hunting. Do something you enjoy doing, calling that turkey or setting or whatever, hunting with your brother or your parents or whoever, you know, just enjoy it. And you don't have to kill one or every time you go. I remember just if I heard a turkey gobble, man, that made my day. If saw a track, a feather, pick a feather up, oh my gosh,
got your
that,
blood going.
yeah, that made my day.
I remember years ago, anytime I'd come up here, they would hand me videos, especially if like the new video come out, like Ultimate Spring video. There's no telling how many people on this earth turkey hunt because y'all were so good at making those videos, and not just making it to show what you killed, but teaching people how to hunt, how to use the calls. I killed my first turkey because of one of those ultimate hunting videos.
Well, that was one of our goals, and it seemed to work pretty good because I mean, when I tell you this, thousands of people come to me at these conventions and things and tell me that they got those videos and they learn a lot from them. And, you know, when I first started, you didn't have anything to teach you. You didn't even have a record or anything. And now then, you got all kinds of videos. You got YouTube. You got everything you can turn right to and just help you call or help you learn how to hunt. Tells you what kind of gun, what kind of camouflage, everything. It tells you everything.
Well, I remember when the first turkey I ever killed, I had been watching that Ultimate Spring series pretty hard. I think there was 3 videos that had been released before that, and I would watch every episode and everything, learn stuff. And Butch had actually taught me how to use a diaphragm call, but I did not have the confidence to go in the woods. I called every hunting buddy I had, and it's like, hey, turkey season opens, 2 days. Do you want to go? I could not get a single person to go. And I had a buddy that he let me deer hunt on his property, and I asked him, I said, hey, can I come turkey hunt on your place? And he just chuckled at me. He's like, you can come, but you're not going to kill one. I can't get within 100 yards of them. And I was like, all right, challenge accepted. And Harold had given me a push-pull box call. Matter of fact, there's some sitting on that table right back there. And he said, take this and put you some Velcro on the stock of your gun and put it on the back of this and just put it up there. And if you get one out in front of you, just hit it a little bit and see what he does. And I'd walked out in this opening, sat right on the point, blew my owl call, and had a turkey gobble literally right over my head. Perfect scenario. The worst thing in the world that can happen to a first-time turkey hunter. And he pitched down. He had 7 hens with him, but when he landed, he was within shooting range. And I just hit that box call, and he turned, went into a strut, and I slapped it one time. He stuck his head up, and I shot him. And I was back at the truck in 20 minutes. Matter of fact, my buddy come walking out the door, and he's like, "You got to be kidding me." I was like, "That's right."
What happened to you that day? You got the disease called turkey hunting.
They ain't found a cure for it yet.
That's right.
Yep, but I'm telling you, and that's because of you. I probably would never even thought about turkey hunting if it wasn't for those videos. And
Well, I think a lot of people has looked at those videos, but they got so many things now to get them started turkey hunting, and that's good. Just like the convention we was talking about. Right. Just look what all you can go to that convention and buy and see that's new that wasn't there a few years ago.
Right.
And
yeah.
And I'd like to ask Harold, in his own words, this is a parlay out of that. What is the most addicting thing about turkey hunting? Why is it so addictive to folks?
Well, to me, this is 70 years I've turkey hunted, and they humble me every year. And when you think you really got it figured out, and I go a lot of times with people. I don't shoot that many turkeys now. I take people. But when I'll go sometime 3 or 4 days in a row, and man, we'll shoot turkeys. And then I'll go 3 or 4 days, what the world's gone wrong. That's the reason I like turkey hunting. Yeah. It's always a challenge. And I hope I never lose that excitement that I get seeing somebody else shoot a turkey or myself shoot one. I get a big kick out of young people shooting turkeys. I've had lots of young people kill the first turkey. I don't have many, but lots of them. And I do get a big rush and excitement over that.
Yeah, that's like that's a great answer. And Doug Kinzer, one of our fellow agents, Chris, you heard he said if you could take that 20 to 30 seconds before you pull that trigger on a turkey and you bottled that feeling up, you'd put the drug dealers out of business.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
That's right. I like it too. I mean, it's probably my favorite type of hunting to do. And I mean, I've done elk hunting. I don't like climbing mountains. I'm kind of allergic to it, so I don't do it that much. But I just like because it's it's the spring of the year. Everything's getting new, and then to have a turkey gobble in your face, I don't think there's anything thing on earth that tops that. Just to have some out there 15 yards just rattling off, and it's special. And then the sense of accomplishment afterwards. I mean, when I killed that first bird, you could have gave me the Super Bowl trophy, and it wouldn't have meant as much to me as that
You know,
22-pound bird.
the time of year we get to turkey hunt too is a beautiful time of year. Most of the time here in Tennessee and Kentucky, it's April, and the dogwoods, redbuds, your little flowers, your birds are happy. All your other birds, your red birds, is singing, and I tell you what, it's just a great time to be out there, and you're seeing everything come alive. You know, just a hard winter, and then all at once, here are all these leaves coming out, and it's just a beautiful time of year. It's just something that I can't get enough of in spring of the year.
Yeah, I'm the same way. We've been trying to get my wife a turkey, Erica, a turkey for the past couple of years, and she had the opportunity last year. Matter of fact, Doug Kinzer put us on a couple of times, and we had a bunch of jakes, like 15 jakes, run them off, and I was like, "You can shoot a jake," and she got mad at me. She said, "I am not shooting a jake. It's my first turkey." But I love spending that time with her. It's awesome, and I know that I get to be there when she finally accomplishes that, and she's put in the work to do it. I mean, I know it'll happen, and it's going to be an awesome moment that neither one of us will ever forget. And there's not many times in your life that happens, where you're there for somebody, something that's their first, and you get to be a part of it. And I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm excited about it. You know, there's not a lot of things that you can have in common with people like that. And, you know, turkey hunting can be an individual sport, or it can be a buddy sport. And you probably won't forget that day. You and I have had a couple of those ourselves. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's pretty neat. It really is.
We need to get her a bird this year.
We'll do it.
She's gonna get a new guide. What she's gonna do? You don't come and get her a bird now.
Well, you know, I've been trying to contract one out, but he's always a little busy. Yeah, that's for sure. No, she could probably do a better guy with a better guide. I'll tell you that. Yeah. I'm not very stealthy. I'm not built for that. I'm built for comfort.
Well, turkey hunting is something that you can share with people, and I do. I love to see people go, and I love to see them call. And somebody say, "Oh, I ain't too good at it." Heck, for it, that ain't what it's about. How good you are. Call, and act like a turkey, sound like a turkey, and when I'm out there turkey hunting, I'm calling a turkey. I feel like I'm a turkey.
Right.
Yeah, I've been called that a lot, but I take that as a compliment. I can tell you that.
I remember the first time you ever gave me a diaphragm call, and I was so embarrassed to try to call it in front of you. Like it's like Hank Aaron handing you a bat and like, "Hitting this ball, boy," you know. And I tried to call on it, and it sounded hideous. And Harold goes, "Chris, there ain't a wild turkey hen on earth that'd win a wild turkey calling contest. Just keep practicing."
That's right.
But it is the truth. But I mean, once I got it and I learned how to control it and control the volume of it, it's just like driving a car. You don't even think about it. You just go.
Well, if you're going turkey hunting, get you a turkey call and call. That's part of it. You missing out on a lot of your hunt, but not calling.
Yeah. No, I enjoy I keep a call in the truck, especially this time of year, and I just enjoy practicing with it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Is there a favorite type of call that you like to use, or does the environment, the situation, the weather, all of that kind of affect what you're going to pull out of your tool bag?
You know, time of year, a lot of times will dictate on what kind of call I'm going to use. I like a mouth call. I like a glass call, a friction call, and a tube call. I really like a tube call. And I think right now, the turkey hunting industry, the trumpet call and the tube call is two of the calls that's pretty popular right now. And people's always calling, because we've made tube calls for years. Even had one patented this year, a new tube call called the VersaTube, and it's been very, very popular. But anyway, I use that call, and it depends a lot of times what time of year I'm hunting. You know, early in the season, I'll use a lot. I do more calling, and as the season progresses on here in Kentucky and Tennessee, I usually cut my calling down considerable and don't make a whole lot of sounds. I'm doing a lot quieter, but it just depends, you know. I'm gonna tell you something. I've said this and said this. I'll lay in the bed thinking, now what am I gonna do tomorrow? What kind of call am I gonna use? Or where am I gonna go? Or what am I gonna do when he gobbles? And most every day I'll have my speech wrote out, but I have to change it.
Yeah.
Because something happens. You know, there's so many variables in turkey hunting that you don't anticipate. And don't get me wrong, a lot of times I got it figured out, but a lot of times I hadn't either.
And I think that's what goes into his explanation about why it's so addicting, because it's never exactly the same each time. It's different every time, and the to have the ability to try to communicate with that wild animal and to pull him into you, that's the addiction.
That really is. To see him strut and honor you and do things like that, it really is addictive. It really is.
That's great.
You remember, like, when you were younger and you were trying to call that first girl to see if she wanted to go to the skating rink, and you'd call and you wouldn't get no answer, and then finally she'd answer the phone and you'd be like, "Oh, this is Jamie." That's what it's like when I call and the turkey finally answers. I'm like, she wants to go. She wants to dance.
She wants to take a couple rounds in the skating rink.
That's right. She wants to go to Magic Wheels.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Harold, is there like any one particular turkey hunt that stands out in your mind? Or you said you've been hunting 70 years. Is there?
Oh, there's lots of them that stands out in my mind. You know, heck, taking a lot of people, you know, I've took over the years. That's people I've met,
Right.
and they stand out, yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the better turkey hunters that I've ever hunted with is not even known. I mean, they don't have a name,
Right.
but I know they dang good turkey hunters because I recognize that. And I got to hunt a lot of different people. I remember one guy I hunted with one time named Bob Knight, who's the coach Bob Knight.
Yeah.
Bob absolutely loved turkey hunting. And he knew that I was a Kentucky basketball fan, and he hated Kentucky basketball. And he don't mind telling you. But he and I was good friends, and he every year he'd call me up. He said, "Dang, Coach," he called me Coach because my name was Knight.
Yeah.
And I was always telling him how to coach, you know.
Right. Right.
He said, "Heck, Coach said, ain't on the team no more?" I hadn't called him, you know.
Right,
Yeah. But anyway, things like that right there, you remember that. And he was so competitive.
Yeah.
And like he was, Bob Knight was just like he was, you see him on television.
Yeah.
And we did a television show, several with him, and he acted throwing the chair.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what most people know him for when you
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that. Say his name.
But Bob had some good things about him too. He really loved his players and really helped them after they got out of school. And I talked to him about that a lot about his players. He'd always tell me, he said, "If you work on help me in my calling, Coach, I'll talk all the basketball you want." And he would, and we'd hunt several times together, and he'd talk basketball. He would, and he knew a lot about it. And I remember one time I picked him up, I believe, at Nashville Airport, and I said, he was at Lubbock, Texas, coaching at the time. I said, "You ain't flying from Texas, you coming from Florida." He said, "Yeah, I had about 300 or 400 coaches down there I went to talk to." And things like that there, that's pretty interesting to me. But he loved to fish. My gosh. We'd turkey hunt and then we'd go fishing. And I caught a fish one time, I mean a big fish. It weighed 9 to 10 pounds, bass.
yeah.
And he said, "That dang fish won't weigh 6." I said, "If you'd have caught him, it would have." But anyway, things like that. And I got to tell one Bob Knight story. I've told this lots of times, but we was filming a show one time, and he had a little call, one of them little push button calls.
Right.
He said, Coach, how's that sound? And I said, Bob, that sounds terrible. I just told him. I mean, he'd squawked that thing all morning, and when he made that sound, a turkey answered it. He looked at me, and I just got through telling him how terrible it sounded. He done it again, answered again. That dang turkey strutted down the hill, come out, and he killed it.
Oh man!
I can't
gosh.
I can't tell you what he said because it ain't too nice. But he let me know right quick.
I guarantee you, he never let you forget that, buddy.
He let me know right quick. I didn't know much about turkey calling.
Yeah. Jamie can call him in with a bag of combos. Matter of fact, that day you took us over there, looked behind the airport over there.
Yeah.
Oh, we're sitting in the blind, and I kept hearing this rattling sound, and I look, and he's got a bag of combos. And I said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm a little hungry. I wanted me some."
What?
Want a snack?
Let me tell you something. It ain't nothing wrong taking a few snacks turkey hunting either.
Hey, I'm telling you, 20 seconds later, there was a gobbler standing out in front of the blind, and he shot that turkey. Matter of fact, it had white in the feathers, and you pointed that out. Remember
That's
that?
right. I
But
got that.
He literally had a bag of combos in his hand whenever he shot that bird.
I'd take them again then.
Yeah,
Jamie.
I'm telling you, that's the way to do it. You get you a bag of combos.
I literally had to put the bag of combos down to pull.
It was awesome.
Oh my God! Up.
And then I made him give me a combo
Yeah.
after we shot him.
Yeah, but you didn't kill one. Only I did.
Yeah, because I was calling. You had the gun.
Also, very memorable for me is, and Mr. Hale, I don't know if you remember this, but we were scouting, I think, the evening before, and you were going to show me where I was going to hunt the next day. Yeah. And there were some turkeys out in this little field, and you grabbed a fan. You said, Jamie, come over here and stand right here behind me. We're going to see how close we can get. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And we walked out there, and you probably got within, I'd say, 12 yards of this bird. And for me, as a highlight of my life, to be able to walk behind Harold Knight, and it was really amazing. Boy, those kind of things have probably happened to so many people that have come into contact with you. Yeah. And you probably don't even know the memories that you have engraved in so many people's heads that you've been a part of their lives and stories. And I know that's amazing.
I've had some good memories of people too. I mean, I really do, great hunts with people, watching them shoot turkeys. Right. And some of the most memorable hunts that I've hunted is when I miss a turkey. I never forget that. Right. I forget about a lot of them I shoot, but that I miss and mess up on, it sticks with me.
Yep. And if you put that particular hunt on social media or on YouTube, that's going to get way more views than if you were to successfully harvest a bird.
When we was filming our television shows, the misses was never left out.
Right.
So people love to see that. They like to see people mess up.
Yep. Yeah, it shows you're human and things can happen, and it gives them a little bit of, hey, I'm normal, just like.
Well, I have messed up a lot in my day. I think back, at the turkey's been scared. I've and most of the turkeys been scared off me. I scared them,
Right.
And it ain't somebody else. But you learn from those mistakes, and
Right.
it has. It's taught me a lot over the years, how to act around a turkey better.
And that's a great way, too, for people that was watching those videos to let you make that mistake for them and learn from it. I mean, I'm glad Joe included that. And I always felt so great about how instructional they were. I mean, you taught so many people how to hunt.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Chris. It makes me feel good that people tell me that, and I have a lot of people to say that. And the old VHS videos, some of them, it's a National Wild Turkey Convention. If I'm sitting here, I bet it's 24 people brought them by. I said, look here, I still want me to sign them,
Yeah.
The old VHS videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always intentionally kind of steered away from talking to you about hunting when we're around because I know that's pretty much all you do. And
well,
so it's kind of fun to do that. Yeah, I know you don't. I didn't want to be the guy that it was always just like, tell me another story.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
But we have spent a lot of time together, like even over at Butch's when hunters come in. Harold's great about coming over and just meeting everybody and sitting down and having dinner. And that to me is special. I mean, hunting is there's so much to it. There's so much more than just going and killing an animal.
And it's communal.
Right. It really is. And, it is to sit around a fire with a bunch of guys, and a lot of them you don't even know, and just you're sharing that experience. It's a pretty unique thing in the world, I think,
y'all sit here and talk to me about turkey hunting and everything, and this is not something script or nothing I'm fixing to ask y'all. I want to know more about Mosaic Properties. Now, I see the signs and stuff out here on big billboards,
Yes, sir.
and I see it on the television. Tell me a little about it. I really don't know that much about it. I don't know anything about it.
Sure. Well, we're a real estate company. We're just like any other company. We'll list commercial land, we'll list houses, we'll list farmland and recreational land, and that's really our expertise. But we're basically a leg of Mossy Oak, and we're realtors, and we're passionate about what we do. We're just as passionate about conservation as someone who's at the NWTF they're trying to raise money for it. I mean, we want to preserve what we have. And for me, the best thing about being a realtor, and this is not me saying something to sound good, I love making people's dreams come true. And it is one of the few opportunities in your life that you have to do that, where somebody's worked their tail off to get to a place where they can buy them a hunting spot, and you be able to be the person that can get them there. That's the most rewarding thing to me about it. But that's
I asked y'all that, and we didn't talk about it. I didn't script that or nothing, but I just wanted to know because I see it advertised around so much, and you drive a beautiful truck up that's got Mossy Oak Properties on it, and I didn't know what really what it was. I'll be honest with you.
right.
Yeah, we're regular realtors, like Chris said. We're a real estate company, but we have a lane that we stick in and that we're good at. And most folks know that when they see the brand as powerful and as good as Toxie and the boys and all those folks down in West Point, Mississippi has done with this brand, that gives us a tool, right? And that's a great way to start. But at the end of the day, it's a real estate transaction. So you're dealing with somebody's, most likely their most prized asset.
Right.
The most expensive thing they've got their blood, sweat, and tears in: their house, their farm, their cabin on 20 acres, maybe 60 acres, an hour outside of Nashville, that a man can take his son to ride a four-wheeler and shoot a 22 at a little target on a tree, Maybe they have a little pond they can fish in. So that lane, that population of people right there is who we really serve. And
Well, I've been around Chris, been around you. Y'all have never pressured me to want to list something or nothing.
Sure.
I just wanted to ask. I didn't know.
Yeah, I just personally, and I probably learned that from y'all. I mean, I've never heard you say a bad word about a competitor. I just, for me, the presence is there, and if there's a need from people, I do want there to be awareness about what we do. But selling land is really kind of the easiest thing. It's like selling candy. People know what they want. Your job is to find it for them and to make it as painless of a process as you can. And sometimes that's helping somebody make a dream come true. And sometimes that's alleviating a burden from a family that's, maybe they lost someone and they don't know what to do with this property. And they want to find the best way to do it. And they don't want somebody that's just going to show up and try to make money off of them. And that's, I think the difference in us and most everybody that we got is we truly care about what's going to happen with that property afterwards. And so it's just finding that balance in a relationship and in a real estate transaction for people to represent them. But we also represent something a whole lot bigger than that in Mossy Oak. And it's like Jamie said, it circumvents everything. It's, people recognize that as a trusted brand. And my responsibility is to live up to that trust. And that's what we try to do. We just try to help people.
Well, you explained it pretty good. I didn't even know. I honestly didn't even know what. I see it advertised, and I thought I knew. It was a real estate company, but I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, Toxie says it best, Harold. He says, without, they can sell camouflage till the sun goes down.
Yeah.
But without the land and the conservation of the land and the critters, there's really no need to sell camouflage. So it kind of goes hand in hand for Mossy Oak to get into the real estate business in some sense. And Toxie puts that so well. That's kind of how that whole thing started and why they got into the properties business, is to take care and be good stewards of that land. And the camouflage, that's going to just follow,
Yeah. It's one of the things that Toxie said one time at one of our conferences that I really remember is that we're basically evangelists for conservation. No matter
Absolutely.
what component of Mossy Oak we work in, we're an evangelist. And I'm also on the pro staff. I actually was on the pro staff about 5 years before I started selling land. They're two totally different things. And for me, they both carry the same responsibility, and that's really to try to conserve as much as we can, of the land and of the animals and even of the flora, even though, try to keep things as native as we can. And at the same time, have that management aspect to the property. And so it's something I'm really passionate about. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Like, when I wake up in the morning, the very first thing I think about is real estate. What can I do? What can I do to make this better? And I'm driven by that. And I think you mentioned competition a little bit earlier. I think most people have an edge in them that want to do good and be better. And I just want to be better than who I was yesterday in this business. And that's what I strive to do. And I think I'll be all right if I keep doing that, keep putting other people first, and just trying to connect them with their forever piece of property.
Yeah. Probably not far off from the philosophy you guys had when you started your business,
Well, we had a big goal, David and I did, when we first started our business. We wanted to make enough money to go to Missouri turkey hunting.
That's right.
And we finally accomplished that and had a pretty good hunt.
They have you back.
Yeah. Well, I never will forget it. Honestly, that was our goal.
Yeah.
Make enough money to go to Missouri turkey hunting.
How many times do you think you've been to Missouri now?
Not as many as I have some of the other states, but Missouri's a great turkey hunting state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Good duck hunting state too.
Yep.
Yeah, that is. Well, a good deer hunting state too. They got some big ones up there.
We ought to open an office up there, maybe.
Maybe we should. We can probably bump that other office out.
Yeah. I think that's doable. Well, that's awesome. Well, what do you got planned this week? I see you've got your fishing rod and reels out and everything like that. What you got planned the next couple of days? I'm sure you're going to go do something.
I've got a meeting in Bowling Green, Kentucky tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm going to the Bassmasters Classic Friday. And I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I have been fishing a lot too. I got my rod sitting over there just in case.
Just in case you can go.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. All right, Harold, I got one more story I want to milk out of you.
All right.
And you don't have to tell it if you don't want to, but will you tell the McDonald's story?
I've already told that enough, Chris.
You ain't got to tell it.
Yeah, I've told that thing enough. I'm telling you what.
You don't got to tell it. It's a great story.
Me.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate your time. And
well, I appreciate y'all coming over here. Y'all came over here to my messy garage. This is where I make calls and fish baits. You got to have a place like this.
Yeah.
My wife won't let me do it in the house, so I come out here and I can mess and do whatever I want to. Keep my boat out here in it.
Looks like the Bass Pro. All these fishing lures hung up.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Well, I like to fish,
I know you do.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for your time this evening.
I appreciate y'all time. I
really
enjoyed it. I always enjoy being around other hunters, especially when you're talking about hunting. And it's always good to see you, Chris, and nice to see you again.
Yes.
I'm telling you what, last time I believe you killed that turkey. No, I saw you in Nashville this
That's
year.
right. Well, we didn't see each other this year. I don't think we ran into each other this year, but every year we do have a nice little moment there.
I remember
and we catch
seeing
up.
you several times at the NWTF convention.
Well, it's always a treat to shake your hand and say hello, and again to take your time this evening with us here on the Tennessee Dirt Podcast. We really appreciate it.
Well, good luck to y'all's real estate business.
Thank you.
And maybe that we get this interest down a little more, and it'll help us all.
I hear you.
I appreciate you, Harold, so much, man. You've always been there. Anytime we ask for something, you're there, and so gracious with your time, and I know how busy you are. So I really personally appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Tennessee Dirt. We'll see you on the next episode. In the meantime, be safe, take care of each other, and we'll see you on the other side. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for listening to Tennessee Dirt, presented by Mossy Oak Properties, Tennessee Land and Farm. And be sure to visit us at mossyoakproperties.com to connect with our team and our collection of listings located throughout the state of Tennessee.